Hello and welcome to the home of the Ghost Owl, and here we are back for part 2, looking at our High Elf faction focus and the special units part of their army roster, seeing how they played in 8th edition and how they might play in Warhammer The Old World. So, first up of part 2, it's the Phoenix Guard, one of the most famous and well-known units in the roster. Good weapon skill, initiative and leadership as you'd expect. They come with a halberd and heavy armor. Unit size is 10 plus, and they have full set of command characters. Now, they come with fear. Fear is no bad thing, but they also come with witness to destiny. They have a 4+ ward save, which for an entire infantry unit is absolutely fantastic. I have to say this unit was probably nearly in every high elf army list that I played or played against. And they look great as well. The helmets. You look at them straight away and you can see their elite infantry. You can see the phoenix element to it. The flames on the cloaks. Great looking and great performing. They don't have the best damage output. This is your anvil. They've only got one attack, which can be buffed. Put some characters in there, and they're going to add a bit of melee damage. But this is really your anvil block. 4+ ward save. They're very durable with that heavy armor as well. So 20 to 30 man block, not unusual. They're only 15 points per model, so cheaper than a lot of other elite infantry in the game. So they're great value, and often you put your battle standard bearer in the unit with a magic standard, which would either say buff the output or, more importantly, provide protection against spells. So then that main vulnerability is against those against magic, and obviously magic was potent. So there were certain magic banners that you could take that would give them some excellent durability against magic attacks. Or you just buff their damage output if that's something that you were going for. But this is really your anvil unit, your big block on the table that is going to sit there, take the damage, get into combat, and sit there while your cavalry, skirmishers, or whatever else you've got do flank charges, cast magic, or whatever. So an excellent unit, excellent looking unit, and hope to see a similar flavour of them in the old world, of being this just absolute, beast of a unit that's tough to wipe out. Next up, Dragon Princes of Caledor, another favourite unit of mine. They look really cool and are essentially the epitome of proper heavy cavalry. They've got above average movement for heavy cavalry. They come with a hand weapon, a lance. They've got dragon armour, which is a 5+ armour, 6+ ward save, and 2+ ward save against flaming. They have shields. They have the Ithilmar Barding, which gives the +1 armor save and not reducing movement. So this is a very mobile heavy cavalry unit, and they can also take shields as well. So you've got a unit size of 5+, and you've got a full set of command there. So personally, this was the best high elf cavalry choice in the roster. One of the best in the game, I think. They're expensive, 29 points per model. But they are some of the most durable, certainly the fastest heavy cavalry in the game. I mean, they're elves, you'd expect that. They got a movement of 9. It's a 2+ armor save, 6+ ward save, 2+ against flaming. They got 2 attacks each, and you get the lance bonus on the charge. So damage output, pretty decent. However, as with most cavalry at the time, they needed support of an anvil unit like the Phoenix Guard. So if you've got a big, large, durable unit, you're not going to wipe that out. Even with these Dragon Princes, you'd tie that up with something else and then have the Dragon Princes hit the flank, and that would break the unit. I'd have to say probably the only cavalry unit that was a standard cavalry, not monstrous cavalry, standard cavalry, heavy cavalry unit that would equal Dragon Princes would be Blood Knights in the Vampire Counts. And often, because the Vampire Counts models were in Finecast and quite expensive, you'd often see people using Dragon Princes to convert to Blood Knights as well. So really cool looking models, great flavour, and I really hope we see them back in the same vein in the old world, which is this very heavy cavalry, but with the elven mobility that comes with it. So yeah, great unit, fun, flavorful, and often seen on the tabletop. Next up, the Lothern Skycutter. This is an interesting one. There's a picture there in the right hand side there. Above average movement as you'd expect because it flies. It's a hand weapon, spear and bow on the crew. And you had the option to add an eagle-eye bolt thrower, which was a 24-inch range, strength 5, multiple wounds, D3, no armor save bolt thrower. And it's classed as a chariot with a 4+ armor save. So unit size of 1, you get the special rules, and it has fly. So it is a unique unit, there's no doubt about that, as a flying chariot with a bolt thrower, but it was rarely seen on the table. I have to say, you've got this mobile bolt thrower. Many people didn't like the aesthetic of this kind of like flying boat thing pulled by an eagle. A lot of people didn't like that. You know, people riding eagles is one thing, but an eagle pulling this flying boat thing, a lot of people just didn't get behind that. And it, you know, it's a personal thing. You know, everyone has their own personal thing, whether they like something or not. There's a lot of people here that I'm sure love this model. There's a lot of people out there that also don't love it, and I think that was one of the issues. It was a bit of a Marmite, love it or hate it. You know, at 120 points, you could almost have 2 normal Eagle Claw bolt throwers for that. So overall potential as a war machine that can do reasonable damage on the charge, but then you come with better options in the roster. Yeah, in terms of my special unit area, I'd be rather taking Phoenix Guard, Sword Masters, and so on, than going to Shadow Warriors, than going into this one. And personally, for me, I'm kind of, you know, not a fan of how the unit looks overall. The picture you see there actually has the Lothern Sea Helm in it. But yeah, it's one of those interesting ones. Sometimes you get this with units, you get people that either love it or hate it, but that can really impact the amount it's seen on the table, unless it is overpowered and broken, and it clearly wasn't in this case. And finally, for the High Elf special units is the Tiranoc Chariot. So this is your basic chariot, really. Kind of like why this was in special units. I don't know. Maybe it was because they were trying to balance out the number of specials and core. You kind of feel like with the White Lions should be special and this should be in core, but there you go. Stats-wise, good movement as you'd expect from a High Elf chariot. Equipment wise, hand weapon, spear, longbow, and the chariot has an armor save of 5+, so a little bit weaker than that of the White Lion chariot, but this one can come in units of up to 3. It's got the always strikes first and everything. Just rarely seen on the tabletop. Lack of durability, lack of damage output, aside from those impact hits on the charge, so you have to charge with it. You absolutely have to. But a unit of 3 of these chariots costs the same as 7 Dragon Princes, which would overall have the much better value in terms of durability, damage output with the same movement. The only thing is, you say the impact hits on the charge, I don't think make up for this, and that was really the point. Is if you wanted this sort of cavalry option, then you know, take the 7 Dragon Princes as opposed to 3 Tiranoc Chariots. So yeah, rarely seen. Certainly, I say this is all relation to my local area, my local meta. I wasn't playing global tournaments or anything back then. So yeah, Dragon Princes, I think, were the order of the day instead of these, so not the most popular choice. And that brings us to the end of all of the High Elf special units in the army roster. I hope that's given you some indication of how they played before, how they might play in the future, and what we can hope changes in order to make some of these units more viable as choices than others. You know, the ideal army list is one where you sit there going, I don't know what to choose because they're all good and they all offer something of value. I think there are clear winners and losers in this army roster, certainly what we've seen so far. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. Let me know why in the comments down below. Mash that subscribe button. It's free for you to do and means a massive amount for me, so thank you for that in advance. You've been watching The Ghost Hour. Tune back in as we start to look at those rare High Elf units.